guys. So, just to fill you in on the last few days, it's been, well, today was really rainy, and I was soaking wet, so it's gonna take probably a couple days for my boots to dry out completely, unless I take them off and just leave them out. But since I'm trying to test systems, I'm trying to gradually work towards being totally independent of the luxuries inside my house, and so I'm trying to think of ways to still have all the things that I need to function in normal society, like regular, like clean clothes, and not smell like I've just crawled out of a hole somewhere. So I need to figure out a way to shower and wash my clothes and stuff like that out in this tent setup. And so that's kind of what I'm working on right now. But to keep my feet dry on the way out here, I put on I put on my socks, and then I put on trash bags over my socks, and then stuck them in the boots to keep my feet dry on the way out here, because these boots are just soaked. And that's the other thing, I need to figure out a way to keep my boots from getting absolutely drenched. And then also I need to figure out a way to dry things quickly. I'm considering just doing it the old-fashioned way, where you just build a fire and then you hang your stuff up near it and just let the heat from the fire, I'm not sure exactly how it works, but I guess the heat just kind of evaporates the moisture away from it. And so that's where I'm at right now. So I'm just trying to work through some solutions there and see if I can come up with any good ideas. Nothing much is really new though. I had something else I wanted to say, and of course I can't remember it now that the camera's rolling. But my bike's brakes, so a disc brake is this little disc, and it attaches to the center portion of your tire, and it's on my wheels there. It's like a flat disc that's about this big around, and it fastens in at the hub of the tire at the middle part. And the way it does that is it just slides up against a piece of metal, and then you run 6 screws in. Well, somehow I lost all my screws except for one. And so the other day when I was biking, I pushed on my brakes when I stopped, and then luckily, just right as I was starting out, I felt this resistance, and everything just something snapped. It sheared off that last bolt, so I didn't have any back brakes. Luckily, that happened when I was starting instead of when I was trying to stop going down a big hill or something like that. So I went out and bought a bunch of screws today and put them all in the bike. But what I did for that day is there's 6 screws total on each disc, and I have a front and back, so I just took 3 from the front and put them on the back one so that it would function for that day. But yeah, I got pretty lucky on that. And today I got to bike 15 miles in a torrential downpour, and it was so awesome. The clouds, just the sky, everything about it was just beautiful. There's there's a whole bunch of different types of clouds, like cloudy, overcast type skies, but today, right before it started raining, it looked like an upside down ocean is about the closest that I can describe it as. Wherever it looked really smooth, but there were waves, and it was really cool looking. And then it started to rain, and then it got dark, and so by the time I came back, it was pitch black and raining pretty heavily, and I didn't have the right type of clothing on. I should have went out with, I mean, I made it back fine, and I didn't get like hypothermia or anything. It wasn't that cold, but it was just pretty uncomfortable. So I need to work on acquiring a different type of layer for, I used to have a rain jacket, but it was this cheap plastic leather crap and I just bought it online. It was cheap and it looked pretty cool, but it wore out really fast, and I didn't really want to buy another one of those. I'd rather have some either real leather or waxed canvas or something like that in the same style. And so I don't know what I'm going to do there. I may order another one just to get the size right, and then take it apart and copycat it in some better material or something like that. Maybe some oilcloth or something like that. So that's another thing that I've got to work on. And then the other thing, I got to figure out a way to keep my boots dry. Today when it rained, the water, well, a lot of it is in my pants. The water soaks into my pants and then runs down, and it just fills the boots completely full of water. But also these boots aren't waterproof at all, and so they just let any water in. And so I've got to figure out some modifications there to make to my upper and lower body to keep dry in the rain, because rain is a pretty common occurrence where I'm located at, and my town is the rainiest town of any place in my whole state. So that's something that is a challenge that I'm going to need to figure out, because as far as like more primitive type living goes and camping and stuff, I need to have some better gear so that I don't have to be dealing with soaking wet clothes. Because today I just went inside when I got home and I put all my clothes in the washer, washed all the mud off, and then put them in the dryer and dried everything. But if I would have been actually camping for real, like out in the boonies somewhere, I would have had to, I don't even know, I would have had to wash my clothes in a bucket and then dry them over the fire, which would have taken a really long time. And so it's just better if it never gets wet in the first place. So that's what I got to work on now, is trying to find ways to keep my stuff from getting wet and improve my system that way a little bit. So I'll keep you guys updated along the way. There also some water got into this tent, and luckily I have a waterproof covering. It's Gore-Tex material. I've got it laid over my sleeping system for that very possibility of water leaking in through this tent. And sure enough, there's a pool of water in this, on top of this, and I didn't realize it until I came in here and I sat down on my sleeping system, and all the water in there ran into my ass crack. It gave me like a ice water, instant ice water. And yeah, so this Gore-Tex is really neat material. Although I'm not fond of synthetics in general, I like being able to rely on more reliable things instead of having to rely on something that's pretty high tech. I like to go low tech, like some cotton or like lightweight canvas material, and then waterproof it that way. Although it's not as useful as Gore-Tex, because Gore-Tex is breathable when wet, which is a really good thing. It's pretty unique in that way. There's a lot of waterproof materials, but this is waterproof and breathable, and most materials aren't breathable at the same time that they're waterproof. So anyways, I'll keep you guys updated on that. I think first thing I want to do is come up with a coat, some type of jacket that I can wear to keep myself dry. So I'm gonna be looking around for some stuff and see what I can come up with. I'm gonna try to avoid wool because I'd like something that I could ride out summer rain as well, and wool, I'd be way too hot if it was raining. Too much humidity and heat at the same time, and add wool to the equation, and that would be not good. So I'll see what I can come up with here, and I'll make another video.